This is the Sports Content Gameplan, the podcast where we go behind the scenes with the creators shaping how we see sports today. I'm your host, Isaac Solina, and each week I have conversations with the people behind the videos, photos, stories, and strategies that brings the game to life. We talk creativity, storytelling, and the real work that happens behind every highlight. In today's episode, I'm joined by Cédric Warlop, filmmaker and photographer from Belgium, working in basketball, soccer, and many other sports. We deep dive into his full-length documentary about the Belgian Cats' back-to-back EuroBasket title, the advantages of working with the same team and players for several years, how to shoot like an editor, and much more. Let's get into it. Cedric, welcome to the game plan.
Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining the pod. I'm excited for this episode. Also, I know you from basketball, but is it only basketball or is it other sports also?
So no, it's not only basketball. It's also soccer, for example, or hockey, or cycling. I did before, so it's a bit of a mix of everything.
And before we get into it, I just want to do some quick questions. So, do you have a favorite channel?
Ooh, there are many, to be honest. For sure, the American channels on YouTube are super nice. Danny Gevers, for example, that's one of my favorites. So yeah, I'll pick him.
And do you have a favorite type of content?
Yeah, I will go for mid or long form, for sure. That's my happy days.
And do you have any creators or any creator that you are inspired by?
In particular, not one. I think if I see something cool, or I try to see a little bit of everyone, and yeah, not like one at the moment. So.
And do you have any favorite DM that you received?
That's a good question. Not that I think of, to be honest.
And if you would describe your own content in 3 words, what would you choose?
Oh, I would say emotional, or more on the storytelling side. I love to use sound effects, so I say, or music. So I think the two are and third one, well, I would say I try to play with lights, so I tend to go a little bit more moody. So maybe that.
So you worked in sports for several years now, but how did your journey into sports content look? Was it sports from the beginning, or how did you end up in sports?
Well, I've played basketball for many years, so I had an internship at the men's league, at the first division men's league, and actually after a few years, I've switched to the national teams, and then it actually became my main source, and from there I've started the road to go into soccer, because at the same time I've worked with the local soccer club in first division, and also with a little bit in the cycling industry. So there it started, and to what it is today, actually.
How would you describe that your creative identity is today versus when you got started?
Well, when I started, I didn't know anything, so I've learned along the way. I didn't go to film school or anything. I've learned everything from YouTube, and to learn from others, I would say. I had a group of colleagues that helped me along the way, and that I wouldn't be here where I am today without them, for sure.
For your clients that you are working with now, what is it that you mostly do? Is it mostly video, or is it both video and photo, or is it social media content also, or what is it that you mostly do?
Mostly I'm doing video. I'm more into like the mid/long form. I'm also doing photo for sure, but that's I would say maybe 20% of what I'm doing right now. So all the rest is video. And that's like my main focus at the moment.
But I think that also maybe it's nice also to be able to just focus on one thing, because I know in like for myself or in social media or content overall, you usually have to do a lot of things. So I think it's a privilege, it's a nice thing to just be able to do mostly one thing.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I actually like doing both, like with the national team, if we were in a European Championship or World Championship. I'm doing both during the games and during preparation also. So now it's for sure a privilege to do one thing, but like combining it, I think it's the combination of the two makes it super nice. And yeah, it's without a doubt, like you're growing if you're doing both because you're also like and so for example in the EuroBasket or the European Championship with the national team, you always need to be so focused. When are you going to switch? When this? So no, it helps to do both sometimes, but like if I'm now back home, now with the national team or in the windows, and if I can focus on one thing, for sure it's gonna be a better result in the end.
Like I said, I know you from basketball, and then mostly like you talked about your work with the Belgian basketball national teams. Uh, so how long have you been working with them?
I think it's more over 5 years right now. Of so wait, I started in 2020, so yeah, it's my sixth year with them.
And how did you get the opportunity?
Well, that's actually funny. So when I worked as an intern with the first men's league, that was the marketing consultant for them. There also was the same marketing consultant for the national team, and he was like, "Yeah, we need someone new because the previous photographer slash videographer wanted to do another job or had the opportunity to do another job." And then yeah, I came in the picture and I took my shot and yeah, until today that didn't change or anything. So
But have you been doing, so you've been doing like the same things for 6 years, or has the work changed over the years with the national teams?
the work changed for sure. When I started, there was only yeah photography for sure during the games, but also more social media content and more like snappy short stuff. But that changed along the way because back when I started, I wasn't really a good storyteller or anything, so I had to learn it, and I learned it through practice. That has been the thing a little bit. We started, I think, in 2023 with like mini documentaries, like or yeah, the so-called mini documentaries, because now I don't like them anymore. But from an editor standpoint, for sure. But yeah, no, over the years it's changed. I think last EuroBasket that was the biggest change for me because then we went full in on YouTube until the end of the group phase. We made 3 episodes of something like 10 minutes on YouTube, and then after the yeah winning the second gold medal, we were like, yeah, let's go for a 65-minute documentary, and yeah, that was the longest piece I already made. So for me, it was a kind of a game changer, and yeah, in that process to make it, and voila, that has been like the process from 2020 or until 2025. The from going from social content to more the YouTube or the more long form stuff.
Like you said, the social media, like today, I think also many only put focus on the social media stuff, only put focus on the short stuff, on the quick stuff, but then you guys have been going maybe in the other direction. I think it's also a nice thing because the long form stuff still holds a big purpose, and I think also a lot of people maybe miss out on it.
Yeah, I agree. We see a lot of social media stuff. I think it's super important in the moment, but I also think that stories need to be told. If you see now winning 2 consecutive gold medals at the EuroBasket, it's super important. If you only would do it on social, it's not so deep. I would say like the Belgian Cats have, for example, have always been a team that's super close to their fans, and we wanted to bring that too on the social media. But not only, yeah, for me, social media is one thing, like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and all that. But also on YouTube, it's an entertainment service. I've always believed in going a little bit long form because your fans want to see it. Your fans want to see what they're doing, and they are so close to their fans. I think that was an ideal combination of going into that route. But yeah, for sure, it's both is important. But I've liked it very much that we went to win the road of the long form stuff.
And we will get into the documentary a bit later, but I also think like working for an organization over a longer period of time, what lessons have you learned as a content creator or videographer?
Well, I would start with like your working speed is improving a lot. That was a big thing actually, because everything happens so fast. You go from practice to the end of practice. You need to edit pictures. Oh, they need to be online in 5 minutes, not in an hour or two. So you go from this to that. Like that helped me a lot into making decisions too. That was for me like the biggest adaptation going into the national team because you don't have time. And you only, for example, during the windows, you only have like a week to put as much online that you can, and then maybe the week after that. But later than that, it's mostly difficult to stay relevant. On that note, you also have like preparation. Preparation is key, and then you need to adapt in the meantime. So I think those two are like the main things I would say that was the lesson that I've learned. So
when you're covering the same team or the same players over a longer period of time, what do you feel are like the biggest creative challenges?
I think it makes it easier because you're building a relationship with them. You know what they like, you know what they don't like. So it's kind of easier to know, oh, this will suit this person or this will suit this person. So no, I think it makes it a lot easier also during pre-production, like if you're going into preparation or for a longer period, or during a championship. Oh, how do you need to handle this or that player? What are their routines? So it makes it easier, I would say.
Sports are like overall it's unscripted, like you can't really know what's going to happen before a game. So how do you stay alert for anything that can happen during a game?
I think the biggest upside is that I have already a little bit of my basketball background, that I know how a game goes and how many minutes a game is. So that's one thing. But no, I think during the game you need to stay alert for everything. You need to watch and yeah, see everything, I would say.
And creatively in sports, what do you feel is the most fun thing to do in sports content?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say practices. Practices may be the most fun thing because as a creator, you can try new stuff, you can experiment. I think that's also a thing because everything goes so fast. You can experiment and see what works and what's not. And I'm enjoying mostly my time at practices, to be honest, because that's like the biggest thing where I can start to risk it something or do this or do that. So the games is always like you always want to have the shot. If it's in practice, it doesn't matter a little bit. You really can experiment on that.
And I think it also ties into something I've been thinking about, like now when you work with a team for a longer period of time or organization, like how you reinvent yourself or how you have time to actually create new content or try new things, like you mentioned, experimenting, because maybe if after a few years you can feel like you get to a certain point and then you feel like you're stalling or not really evolving. So using the practices, I think that's a big thing, like you mentioned, to actually not just do the same thing over and over. So is that maybe one of your techniques or tricks for not just doing the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, that's for sure one thing. I think also like with after you a championship, you start something new, or after an Olympics, you start like a new thing. And also with like the concept names, we started defending the crown with the cats. We have now chasing royalty. That brings like I would say a new thing to it, a new dimension for me, because you can like to think, okay, what are we going to do here? What is like the main visual style for this? So
And also for me, I only mostly work with basketball. Maybe it's also like for you working in different sports, maybe that also helps, like not just doing the same thing over and over. But how is it working in different sports? Is it what makes it fun, or what makes it hard switching arenas or sports?
It makes it more fun for me because you can take away some points from every sport, and then you can try to implement it in different kinds of, for example, if I'm on a basketball court for several weeks, I'm really happy to go, for example, to a soccer to a pitch. So that makes it for me a little bit more fun because you can take away things from every sport and then implement it, even if it's something small. I think the details helps too. So
I think we can get into the documentary to go behind the content and behind the documentary. So the name of the documentary is Defending the Crown, about the Belgian Cats back-to-back EuroBasket championship. And just tell me, how did it start?
it started right before the preparation. I already had like a plan. I wanted to see a few weeks how the vibe was around the team because some players weren't there yet. Some were still in the WNBA. So yeah, for me it was like a little bit keeping an eye on everyone and see, okay, what can we make in a certain way, because I already had like, okay, I want to, in the first episode on YouTube, because that was actually the main plan, I want to talk about this, but then it was like, okay, but which players are we going to use for this? So that was actually the first one, because also we had a new assistant coach, so I was like, okay, we can introduce her a little bit, and yeah, going forward, we've lost one game during the preparation, and I know, okay, we can build around that block, and then that's the end of the first episode, and then we can go to the second episode, going into EuroBasket with the last few games. The WNBA players came along. That was the two Julies and Chiara, and then yeah, we introduced them again, like, oh, welcome back, look who's here. That was very fun, and then yeah, we were on EuroBasket, and going into EuroBasket, we didn't very much had a plan on when to release an episode. So I was like, okay, maybe after the group phase, because I think we had like an easier group, I would say, if you compare it to the other ones. So let's see from the quarterfinal, and then we had Germany, and then I was like, maybe we should wait after releasing the third one from the group phase. Should wait to release the rest. Like if we lose this one, we can start to edit it. But if we win, maybe we should wait until the final. Or yeah, because we still needed to play the semi-final. But that was like a day-to-day thing. I was pretty sure, because I had like a gut feeling that we were going to win it again. That we needed to wait until the end, and then luckily I was right. But yeah, it was pretty much a day-to-day thing. On how we wanted to approach this series, because we wanted to always also like not come too late with an episode. We wanted to be like, okay, this just happened. I think the episode, the third episode of the group phase came, or we released it, I think 1 day before the quarterfinal. So we wanted to be also a little bit in the moment. And then we released the documentary, the full-length documentary, in the theaters in November, because the Cats were then in Belgium. We couldn't make like a big event out of it, and voila, later in the year it came on television here in Belgium, so it was super nice.
So from the start it was actually a YouTube series, or what do you say?
Yeah, it started as a YouTube series.
When did it become a documentary instead?
After we won the semi-final, we were like talking to broadcasters from Belgium, that's the VRT and RTBF. And because we have two sites in Belgium, the Flemish one and the French one, we've been in talks with them, and they were like super interested in it, and everything came from there. They were like, okay, how many minutes? And then we going back and forth, and suddenly it became a real thing. Yeah, we needed to film interviews extra. We had a lot of interviews during the tournament, but then we needed to have interviews afterwards, because players after the EuroBasket were on holiday or going back to their teams already, so we need to see what worked, and voila.
Like for me, when I watched the documentary, like, because I also know like you talked about, you also do the other stuff during the tournament, like the photos, the videos for other things also. And then to start doing a documentary also, like, how is it, like, I think for me, like in the work, just during the games, thinking about both the things right now and then also think about the things that's gonna be used later. That challenge must be hard, or how was it for you?
Yeah, it was kind of heavy, and because you have a lot of content. That's one thing for sure, and you need to like switch. And the thing is a little bit that you sometimes wanted to have some moments on video instead of on photo. So that is actually the biggest challenge. But I would say that's a heavy one. Luckily, we had also some broadcast footage that we can rely on, but that's the biggest challenge for sure. And then with all the footage you have, like, okay, we're gonna make a story out of it, and what is logic? What did I already shoot? What did I don't shoot already? So that's also like maintaining everything in the note, and like, okay, I have this, okay, can I use for this and this and this. When I'm shooting, I'm already thinking, okay, how can I use this in post? Like thinking already like an editor, how I can move away, or like if you have a scene where they're talking, okay, how can I cut away from this? And that's the biggest challenge. But the games are for sure difficult. You need to have a little bit of luck too.
So do you have, like for Belgium, then you film videos, and then you also have like a social media coordinator with the team, so you work together to create during the tournament using your footage also, or
No,
are you alone?
I'm alone. And the EuroBasket in 2023, I had a colleague with me, and then we did like you said. But the last EuroBasket, I was all alone, and then I was sending pictures over WhatsApp, like, yeah, okay, you can use this for the graph, for the halftime score or the final score. So no, I'm mostly doing that aspect alone. Luckily, like if you're talking about like, okay, we're gonna interview this one, what is the main topic we want to talk about? Like, how can we approach this? Like that, luckily I have someone with that, but it's like more, not a social media coordinator, it's like more, okay, how can we approach this from a storytelling standpoint?
Was this your first documentary you made? Like this first long form that you made?
Yeah, 65 minutes has been the longest I've made so far.
So after EuroBasket, did you like restart from the beginning then with all your content, or how did the process look?
Yeah, that's actually funny. So we had the 3 episodes already, but I still wanted to like go through everything. Like, so I had someone else next to me, Lars, and he helped me during the process, like with pre-cuts and so. That way I was like still fresh to start on the main edit for the 65-minute version. Yeah, I went through everything, and then at that moment I've realized, okay, I'm glad we have enough, because we also have like the broadcast footage, so we can move around. But yeah, like I said already, like the games are the toughest, because yeah, you want to pick certain moments that you want to go deeper in. So I actually, a funny one was during the semifinals we were losing against Italy, and I think it was it 3 minutes, 2 minutes, something like that. And I felt like we had a score, they had a turnover, like almost at one possession, and I was like, I think we're gonna win this one. But we were still losing, so it was super weird. So most of the time I'm on the court where they score. So I was like, okay, during timeout, I'm going to the other side. You never know what's gonna happen, and then boom. And at the end, we won with a 3-pointer of Antonia. At that moment, I was so happy that I followed my gut that I need to go on the other side, because then you have the shot, so you have the whole play, but you have the shot, but you also have the celebration. So yeah, I was so lucky that I picked that right moment to have it in video instead of a photo, because yeah, that can also like make or break your documentary, because you don't have it from your own standpoint.
And did you feel the same confidence in the finals with 2 minutes left?
That was a different one. Yeah. Along the game, I was like, this is a weird game. But we had like the same kind of game in 2023. We were losing at the half. What I felt was like the players were more confident in turning around this. So I was like, okay, it's gonna be all right. And then exactly the same, I was like, at the end of the game, you never know if we were losing So I've already gone back to the same position from the previous game, and I was like, yeah, we'll see. If they lose, I also have the reaction, and we can make something out of it. But if you win, it's a bonus again. So yeah, the confidence on my side, I was like, I always wanted to win, so that would have been super nice. Luckily, it did. But the game was so weird. I would say. I think finals are super stressed, and everyone is like, okay, how are we going to do? Sometimes it get a little bit sloppy or so because everyone is nervous, and yeah, same with me a little bit. Like,
So creating this documentary, the shots in the documentary, is it mostly you?
yeah, but you have for sure the broadcast footage. I think you can see when it's broadcast footage because I've overgraded it to make it a little bit different. But yeah, I think when I used a B cam or was at the end, and then there was one time someone else replaced me because I wasn't still in the country. That was in the beginning of the preparation when the players arrived at the hotel, and for the rest is mostly my footage.
So all the B footage with all the like the city visuals, all those things. You also went around during the city.
Yeah, sometimes not. I remember the drone footage isn't mine. I was looking at stock footage for that because I think it's essential to give context to a scene. So, for example, in Brno, and in Athens too, the drone footage is just stock footage. But like I've went to the city to make some footage from buildings, from stuff like that I did. During the 2 hours I sometimes have between editing and practice and the night shifts and so on. So yeah, that's mostly my footage. But is there something else? I think in Belgium the drone footage too isn't mine. That's from a friend that I asked, like, can you go in the air and film something for me?
And when I watch documentary, I feel like it's like you mentioned, it's a lot of great storytelling, also different stories coming together to the tournament. So what was the main focus for the storytelling?
Because we first wanted to do the YouTube series, I was like thinking in blocks. I would say like, okay, what is the main subject of this episode? And then we combined it with the players that we wanted to tell the story with. But as in the documentary, it's more coming together, and then it's, I think, more the team side I wanted to show instead of like through the eyes of individuals. So I think that's the biggest difference from the YouTube series to the documentary itself.
So how was it then to see the documentary on the big screen also then, and on television also, both the big screen and television?
I had the luck to already see it because a few days before the release, I've gone to the theaters. I watched it by myself, all alone in a in a hall. So that was quite weird, to be honest. But just to double check like everything, like for example, are the subtitles not above the graphics, or is the color grading correct? So I had the luck to already seen it, and yeah, it's always like, okay, what are the people what is their feedback to me? And yeah, I was nervous for sure. On television, I was more like relaxed because I already seen it a little bit. I was kind of also like, I was done with the documentary, like for real, I was done because I saw it so many times. Because I also like, when we did go to sound mix, then I need to watch it again just to, okay, these are my feedback points. Okay, we can go again, and then we need to grade it. Okay, and then going through every scene multiple times, I was like, okay, now it's in the cinema. I'm done with it. Like during the event in November, I was like, oh damn, this can be better, or this can be better. Oh damn, I needed to frame this differently. So it's a constant process. I think I'll never be fully 100% happy with it, but I'm obviously super happy with it. But like, you mean, there are always like points you can make it better or see, because now we're a few months later, and then you see, oh, maybe we could have gone this route or this route. So yeah, it's a constant thing, I would say.
And what has the feedback been?
I think everyone is really happy with the documentary. I think we could do more because I was doing photo and video during the tournament, so that's always like a choice you need to make. And if you, for example, only can focus on one thing, and that's what we've been talking about in the beginning, if you only can focus, you can make it better or make it longer or make it more deeper, or but that's always like, yeah, it's one or the other. But I think overall everyone is happy. If you see with how many people we made this, then I think it's quite okay.
I think it's amazing, and I'm guessing it's one of your favorite works, maybe your favorite projects.
Yeah, definitely. Also because you learn a lot about it through it and about it, and you learn how to go deeper into certain stuff, and what you need to think about already a few steps ahead for this. So that's also when preparation went more key or so, because I already had like a plan before the preparation, but like doing it like with not a lot of people is also difficult, I would say, but also it's good because you follow your instincts. So it's definitely one of my favorites.
And do you have any other favorite projects that you worked with?
Top of mind, I would say the mini documentary series with the local soccer team here when they became champion of the second division and promoted to first division. That has been a really nice one, because I've been working with them for also several years. After they were relegated to second division, I was with them already. So seeing the relegation and get promoted back, so that's also like emotional a little bit, because you've been through it with them. So yeah, top of mind, those were two things or two series, or one of my favorite projects for sure from last year.
If we circle back to, like we talked about, working for a longer period of time with the same team or same organization, like what would be your best tips for other content creators working in the same field for a long time, and just like how to keep reinventing yourself, or what would be your best place to keep elevating?
I would say shoot like an editor. That's what I already mentioned. Sound is super important. Not only like music, but also sound effects, but also like clean dialogue. I would say that's super important. And then last one I would say is like try to shoot a little bit longer before or after, so you have always like a little bit spare room if you need it in the edit. So that would be like my 3 tips.
Like for me, I think sound effect is one of the things that I maybe find it harder, or maybe like sometimes neglect when you just have to push stuff out fast. So how do you keep it like in top of mind for you, or what helps to like remember the importance of it?
Actually, it depends on what it's used for. So if it's only purely for social media, and I mean by that like TikTok or like super snappy content, I don't think it's always necessary. But if you like really want to make, for example, a 30-second piece or a 60-second piece or something longer for YouTube or even for socials, and you want to like dimension it or multi-dimension it a little bit, then I think it's super important. So it depends on what's the use for it. I don't think if you have like a super cool dunk in slow-mo that it needs to have sound effects. It's always cool to have sound effects, but if it's like need to be put out in 5 minutes, then you can't do it for sure.
So how do you see yourself, your creative work evolving in the coming years? What's next for you? What do you want to do? What are you doing?
That's a good one. I've been thinking about it sometimes. For sure, I want to do like everything I've been doing right now, the combination of photo and video, but yeah, becoming better at my craft and becoming a better storyteller, and that is like my number 1 priority. If I can, we had like the cinema already, so that's like bucket list for me. But I wasn't at first on my bucket list, because I was like, yeah, that's only for films, not for documentaries. But yeah, it's on my bucket list. I can check it. I really want to grow at making series and making documentaries. So that would be nice to do like in the future and stay on. But I don't mind also like the mid form or more raw behind the scenes on social. So yeah, a combination of that.
Working like creatively like you do, when you talk about seeing in the future, do you feel like you have to, how do you go about it? Do you when you try to reinvent yourself or try to get better? Do you feel like you have to outdo yourself in a way, or do you see it like just mentally think about it? Do you feel like you can look back at your old things and see like...
Yeah, mostly I hate my stuff that I make after a couple of months. I've been like, oh, this can be better, or this can be better. So that's for sure. I try to disconnect also a little bit of everything. I've tried to consume less and read some books, go on a hike, go do something with friends. I think those are, for me, mentally good things to do. Also, like, try to, if you're watching a film or a series, I always try to see, oh, maybe what can I see, or what can I take away from this? So the combination of like disconnecting and trying new stuff, or try to see new things, and reading helps me a lot.
Disconnecting is like, for me also, like really important, but it's also very hard, because like for me, I work mostly with social media, so just sometimes you feel you have to be connected, but also, like you mentioned, doing these things like going for a walk or reading a book, that I just like, because you will get the inspiration from other things that you don't get just from watching basketball all the time. So I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah, sure. Actually, the best ideas sometimes I have is in the car when I'm driving, and then you're like, because you're thinking and you're doing something else, and yeah, exactly, like disconnecting. But it's disconnecting from social media is the hardest thing, I would say. That's because it's basically your work, and it's also where everyone is communicating. So for sure, in this generation, or in this
struggle of a content creator.
Yeah, a little bit.
Thank you, Cedric, for this talk. It was really nice to get to know you better and get to know your work and all the great things that you do. So the last thing I always ask my guests here are if you have any dream guests for this podcast, if you have any creators that you would like to hear from or hear their story.
Maybe like someone who's in EuroLeague or NBA would be a nice one, because I think they have some different structure or workflows to know about.
Great. Thank you so much.